Welcome to the DMF. I'm Justin Yance. This is part two. Yeah. So let's talk about the first two now. The first Terminator.
Mhm.
I mean, I just saw it again because they re-released it like back in October, I think it was. It was, or I think it was before that, like August. Um, and seeing it again, it, it still holds up because it's such a strong film. I mean, like even if people say, well, it looks like the 80s. Yeah, but it's gritty, it never lets up. What do you think about that first film? Just give me your thoughts about it.
Oh, it's a as close to a perfect film I think as you can get in terms of just the tightness of it. It flies by because I also went to that screening for the 40th. I actually drove across. I live in Georgia. I drove across state lines because there wasn't
Oh, wow.
Cinemark,
Yeah.
whatever. There wasn't a theater in Georgia that I could find close that was showing it, but there was one in South Carolina. So I was like, of course, that's how crazy I am. So I'm going to drive
Wow.
state lines to go see a movie I've seen 100,000 times. I have
Yeah,
50
same.
copies. I have 50 copies on DVD in my room. But
Yeah.
yeah, to just be able to say I saw it on the big screen, um, yeah, it's literally a perfect film in my opinion. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's continuity. Yeah, sure, you could pick up on that, or you could pick up on the makeup effects, whatever. And even Jeff Don, the guy that worked on the films, the makeup artist, he even says, yeah, sure, of course it's dated, but you just look at a film, any film, in the time it was made. You don't, you know what I mean? Like you have to do that, otherwise nothing's going to hold up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
maybe the most timeless film of all time is The Wizard of Oz because that movie I think still looks like it might have been made in the 90s. Like that's how timeless I think that movie is. The effects, everything about that, it looks like a pretty recent film within the last 30 years.
Mhm.
And it's crazy that it's, coming up on 100 years. So, but yeah, T1's my favorite out of the two. T1 wins by, this much. Um, yeah, it's just, and it's Arnold's best villain role. And I know he hasn't played very many villain roles, but it's his best. Linda's great. I've talked to Michael Bean. He's great. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah. Have you watched the 4K re-release yet?
I have not seen it yet. I do own it. I had it pre-ordered on Amazon, but I haven't checked it out. I've heard that it looks way better than the T2 4K does. So I assume you have.
I have seen the T2 4K and it's just that worked on the big screen. I mean, I don't know. Some people don't like it. I like that he came and remastered it, but he gave us that orange. It's too orange now. It's too I don't know.
T1 is too orange.
No, T2. When
T2.
when
Okay.
they when he kind of came back and just he used the AI and the DNR and all that stuff.
Yep.
The thing that I think that sets apart T1 and T2 is, and I love watching reactions on YouTube of people that have never seen it before, and you can almost pinpoint the point where they start to like really start to pay attention, and it's when Kyle Reese is in the car, Michael Bean's character, and he's talking about the future war, and he's explaining, he's basically explaining, what the whole movie is,
Mhm.
but he does it in such a way that I mean, when he shows us his forearm and it's got the burns on it, and he's talking about this hellish landscape, we don't really see it other than those like little bit of flashbacks. But I think that's what kind of sets it apart because it takes it from being just another B movie where it's just a monster going after, and it becomes something else because we're talking. The gravitas that he brought to those speeches, just talking about. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Oh no, it's great. It's absolutely great. It's I've heard that it's maybe one of the best expositions that's ever been put out there just because it keeps the movie moving, but you're
Yeah.
also getting the information that you need at the same time. Um, yeah, no, it's and now Michael has a podcast of his own. It's I think it's called Just Fooling Around or Just Fooling About, something like that. Uh
Yeah.
so he's gotten into the podcasting world. But no, he's great. That scene's great. Kyle Reese is great. Jai Courtney was a horrible Kyle Reese.
We'll get to him. We'll get to him.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so now moving on to T2. Um, the forever debate will be, which is better, Terminator 1 or T2. It's like Alien or Aliens, which do you prefer?
Isn't
The
that
thing that
funny?
I
They're both,
Yeah,
isn't that funny? They're both Cameron. Isn't that funny?
I know. I know, Cameron, I mean, he just he brings that grittiness to those films that, like you said, the way he explains exposition, even in Aliens, you see it. It doesn't feel like it stops the movie. Like, a bad use of exposition is, Star Wars Episode 1, when you're just like, okay, we're just, we've got to get here to get to this place, whereas, Terminator 1, you're like, he's explaining the plot while they're in the car and they're moving. Um, Terminator 2, he gets the plot, everything you need to know is told in that voiceover when she in T2, where she's explaining, okay, they sent two Terminators back in time. Which one will get them to them first? I mean, that's pretty much all you need to know. Aliens, it's a little bit more of a setup, but it's that. Talk a little bit about T2. Why do you think that movie, like today, it still holds up, and it's kind of considered one of the greatest action movies ever made? I
Mhm.
mean, like it's always in that top 10.
Yeah, no, it's and I to answer the first question, it's T2 is better in every way, shape, and form because
Mm,
the mere fact that it is a sequel and it's as good, if not better, than the first film makes it
mm,
better than the first film, in my opinion. It's just not my favorite. T1 is my favorite, but T2 is
mm,
hands down the better film. Um, for the fact that it flips the Arnold thing, and that is still to this day one of the most ingenious things I think that have ever happened in all of cinematic history. The fact that you have Arnold and you can stick him in a villains list and a heroes list as the same character. And I don't think there's maybe one or two other examples. I'm just not thinking of them, but he is in a league very much of his own when it comes to that he owns that. He can be on those lists and he is. It's like an AFI list or something.
yeah,
It's wild. It's absolutely and it's ingenious and it's the thinking behind it, the reprogramming, absolutely wonderful. So that works, and it's the flipping of Sarah. Like that whole movie just flips everything, and it does it so masterfully. Gives us Robert Patrick as the T1000. I don't really have an issue with the performance of Eddie Furlong. I really don't. I know
same here.
some people call him too whiny or whatever, and he was going through puberty during that film, so he had to do a lot of ADR to go back.
Yeah, they had to loop every single one of his lines, other than I think when he was in the truck or whatever,
Right.
and they're like checking the thing. He kept you can hear his kid voice come in.
Yeah, and it's still. I mean, I haven't seen every Furlong performance, but that's still, I think, his best performance, and it's his first. And he's
Yeah.
like 12, 13, whatever. So,
Yeah.
everything about that film and the emotion. I personally don't. I mean, I get why people cry at the end with the thumbs up and everything, and I've always said this. Mark my words, Justin. When Arnold Schwarzenegger dies in real life, that's all you're gonna see on the news
Oh yeah.
is the
Oh
thumbs
yeah.
up, is the thumbs up. That's all you're gonna see. Uh,
Yeah.
and it makes sense. But that's not the scene that gets me kind of teary eyed. It's the scene where I don't know if you want to get into nitty gritty
Yeah.
stuff here, but
Get into the nitty gritty.
it's why it's when Sarah goes to Miles and attempts to kill him and
Yeah.
literally gets to that point of nearly pulling the trigger, and you have him on the ground, you have the wife and the son, and then she just backs up, tells him to be quiet, and just
Yeah.
she realizes what she's become, and that's
Yeah.
the scene that always gets me. And then John comes in and God, that's the scene. I don't know if that's the scene for everybody, but
Yeah.
that's always been the scene that's got me really teary eyed. And it's
Yeah. Because when you think about it, she's created this like this evil villain in her head of what Miles Dyson is, and then when she sees him there, just
right,
begging, shot him in the arm, he's just bleeding there. She's like, she can't go that last step. She's become the Terminator when she's driving there. She's zero focused, but she can't do what the Terminator would do, which is just blow him away.
right,
She's got the humanity to her, which that movie is all about, finding, human life
yeah,
and the emotion to it. And no, I agree. That's the other scene to me that also is great is, when we see the nuclear bomb go off
oh yeah,
and that in her head, and we just see just I mean, I think James Cameron said that he got a thing saying from the people that make these actual bombs that thank you for Terminator 2 because it's the best um, reenactment of a nuclear explosion. And it's like, that's kind of scary. It's
right,
accurate.
yeah, no, I mean that's talk about being I couldn't tell you how old or how young I was when I saw that film for the first time, but man, that'll give you I don't know, I got nightmares from it. Maybe I did, but that it was burned
Yeah.
into my brain at a very young age, seeing Sarah hold on to the fence and the chain link fence and just literally melt apart. It's yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was my dad is he's still alive. He's a very interesting guy, and that's one reason why he's very interesting. Showing Terminator 2 to his I don't know 12-year-old son.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I begged my father to let me watch it, and it was like he didn't like movies, but I was just like, I have to see this, I have to see this, and that's how I saw it, and it's burned into my brain. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.